Hi, my name is Liara.
And I'm Savannah, and we're going to be reading On Beyond Zero by Dr.
Seuss. Okay. Page 1 said Carnard Coney's old Donald Old Deal, my very young friend who is learning to spell. The A is for ape, the B is for bear, the C is for camel, the H is for hare, the M is for mouse, the R is for rat. I know all 26 letters just like that. Through to Z. Z is for zebra. I know them all well, said Connor O'Neill's old Donald Old Dill. So now everything anyone knows from the beginning to end, from the start to the close, because Z is as far as the alphabet goes. Then he almost fell flat on his face on the floor when I picked up the chalk and drew one letter more, a letter he had never dreamed of before. And I said you can stop if you want with the Z, because most people stop with Z, but not me. In the places I go, there are things that I see that I never could spell if I stopped with Z. I'm telling you this because you're one of my friends. My alphabet starts where your alphabet ends. My alphabet starts with this letter called was. It's a letter I used to spell was a must-has. You'll be sort of surprised what there is to be found once you go beyond Z and start poking around. So on beyond zebra, explore like Columbus, discover new letters like wum is for wumbus. My high spouting whale who lives high on hill and who never comes down till it's time to refill. So beyond Z, it's high time where you shown that you really don't know all there is to be known. Then just a step farther past, is for Wumbus, and there you'll find and the is for Umbus, a sort of cow with 100 head of one tail. But to milk this great cow, you'll need more than one pail, perhaps 98 falconers give milk quite nicely, perhaps 99. I forgot just precisely, and boy, she is something most people don't see because most people stop at the Z, but not me.
I ramble, I scramble through the swamp, where the letters get better, like letters of hump. There's a real handy letter. What's handy about it? You just can't spell hump a dumper without it. If you stay home with zebra, you're stuck in a rut. But on beyond zebra, you're anything but. Why, I know a fine fancy letter called fuddle. I use it spelling Miss Fuddle Dee Duddle. And oh, what a bird of. Her tail is the longest that's ever been heard of. Her so long and fancy as she'd be in a fix. If she didn't have helpers, it would take about 6 to tag along hosting Miss Fuddle-Dee-Duddle's wonderful tale out of Muddle-Dee-Puddles. And Gilk is for a Gilker who lives in wild weeds and spends his time juggling fresh cinnamon seeds, which he's usually able to find in a great number, excepting, of course, in a month of September, when cinnamon seeds aren't around in great number, so that month he juggles with seeds of a cucumber. And nut is a letter I use to spell nutches, who live in small caves known as niches, for hutches. These nutches have troubles, the biggest of which is the fact there are many more nutches than niches. Each nutch in a niche knows that some other nutch would like to move into his niche very much. So each nutch in a niche has to watch that small niche or nutch who haven't got niches will snitch. Then we go on a snee, and the snee is for Sneedle, a terrible kind of fiercerous mosquito, whose whom digger is stinger is sharp as a needle. The Sneedle's too tough to be killed with a smack, so he has to be hunted on an elephant back, and your eyes on the elephants have to be keen, and you have to aim fast, and you have to hit clean, and the bullet you shoot is a stale navy bean that you've dunked for 3 weeks in old sour cuisine, which is awfully hard work, so it's easy to see why most people stop at Z, but not me. When you go beyond zebra, who knows? There's no telling what wonderful things you might find yourself spelling. Like Quan is for quandary, who lives in a shelf in a hole in the ocean alone by himself. And he worries each day from the dawn's early light, and he worries far into the night. He just stands for there and worries. He simply can't stop. Is his top side his bottom, or is his bottom side the top? And Thanad is for Thanadders, and oh, they are sad, oh. The big one you see has a smaller one's shadow. The big is the shadow with the small thunder. It should be his. I don't understand it, but that's how it is. A terrible mix-up in shadows. Gee whiz.
A spasm, a letter I used to spell spasm. It basically belongs to Nasm of Basm. Handy for traveling, that's why he has I'm more easily to pack than a suitcase or grip. Those horns carry all that he needs on a trip, a thread, a needle form, meeting his socks, his toothbrush, a cup, and 2 3-handled clocks in his velvet umbrella, his vegetable chopper, and also his gold plate, popping corn popper, a grasshopper cage for his favorite grasshopper. Okay. And floob is for flop boo bab boo bubs who bounce in the water like bubbly tubes. They're no good to eat. You can't cook 'em like steaks, but they're handy in crossing small oceans and lakes. And that is the letter I use to spell Zaltz. It who it Zaltzed, whose nose is so high that most nobody's patting his lonely old nose is the least that a fellow could do for this fine friendly beast. So to get there and do it, I built an invention. There's 3-seater Zaltz and nose painting extension. If you're trying to drive one, you'll certainly see why most people stop at the letter Z, but not me. A jog is a jog is my letter for spelling jog owns who doodle around in the far desert dunes. Just doodle around, croning very sad tunes about peppermint peanuts and pebbles and prunes and paint pots and polka dots, pinheads and pigs and their grandmothers, grandfathers, stepsisters, wigs. So you see there's no end to the things you might know, depending how far beyond zebra you'll go. I've a letter called funnel, and funnel is for funnel. A soft fish, a saltish, nice fellow who hides in a tunnel. He only comes out on his of his hole. I'm afraid when the right kind of sawfish, nice music is played on a kind of hunting horn called the old grunt. And to learn how to play, it takes months after months of practicing isn't much fun. And besides, quite heavy, weighs almost tons. That's why few people bother to play the old grunt. So the funnel's being out of his tunnel just once. And way past Z is a letter called itch, and itch is for itch-a-pods, animals which race round back and back through the air on very heights all between here and there. They're afraid to stay there. They're afraid to stay here. They're afraid to stay there. It's too far. They think here it's too near, and since here is too near and out there is too far, they are too scared to roost wheresoever they are. There's a letter called yeek, and yeek is for gecko who howls in an underground grotto and gecko. These geckos love echoes, and this is their motto for best gecko echoes. Try gecko our grotto. Oh, the things you can find if you don't stay behind on a rail near the sun. I've son lived two brothers called Vrooms. who strangely enough are built sort of like brooms, and they're stuck alone up there high in blue, and so to kill time just for something to do, each one of these fellows take turns with the others in sweeping the dust off the road with his brother.
And high is for the letter of high ground, gargle, for getting places real fast. I am all for 'em. They puffle along and their brakes never squeak, and they run every hour, every day of the week. From the town of North Dub to the town of East Ounce, making stops at West Jugglefield, Yupster, and Jounce, at the Ipswich and Nipswich, and also South Bounce, and other small towns that's not too hard to pronounce. The places I took him, I tried to tell. Young Conrad Cornelius or Donald O'Deal, a few brand new wonderful words he might spell. I led him around and tried to show there are things beyond Z that most people don't know. I took him past Zebra as far as I could. I think perhaps maybe I did him some good. Because finally he said, "This is great stuff, and I guess the old alphabet isn't enough." Now the letters he uses are something to see. Most people still stop at Z, but not he. List of letters for people who don't stop at Z. Yuz, hipf, fuddle, gilk, na, Z, Juan, then at spaz, flop, zats, jog, flin, itch, yeek, rue, high. And
What do you think we should call this one anyhow?